Hey, everybody, this is Demia Avery at the Demia Avery Show. So, we're going to continue on with the Diddy trial with Jane still on the witness stand. This is going to be kind of a long one, so you guys sit tight. If it is too long, I'll go ahead and do a part two to this video, but I'm going to try to get it all in one video. So, courtesy of the New York Post, we're going to go ahead and get this together. So I'm going to read kind of fast, guys. Here we go. Jane, one of Diddy's accusers, has returned to the witness stand for the third straight day. The accuser, who is using a pseudonym during the trial, testified Friday about hotel nights, which were alleged drug fueled sexual nights that she had during her relationship with Diddy. Diddy demanded his influencer girlfriend send him X rated videos while he was with another girl, according to testimony. Jane, Combs' one time social media influencer girlfriend, received messages from the Bad Boy Records founder pressuring her to send him videos of herself being a bad girl. Jane um, said she got upset and pushed back against the request because the I'll Be Missing You rapper, yeah, they just go along with it. Because Diddy was with another woman. He says, "Stop it. Don't say no to me, please," Combs wrote in a follow up message. But Combs insisted anyway, saying, "Just do what I say, please. I'm orny," according to August 2023 messages that were shown to the jurors. Diddy one-time influencer girlfriend Jane sent numerous text messages telling the hip-hop mogul she didn't want to take part in freak-offs anymore. "I don't want to be used and locked in a room to perform and fulfill your fantasies," Jane wrote in the September 2023 text to Diddy. "I'm coming to the realization of what this really is. I don't want to feel obligated to keep performing these nights with you for the fear of losing the roof over my head," Jane said in another message that month. But Diddy completely glossed over her messages when he answered her in a voice message complaining about being sick in bed. It goes on to say that Jane begged him to stop having drug fueled marathon smeck sessions with her and male escorts, declaring, "I am not a porn star. I am not an animal," jurors heard on Monday. So it goes on to say, "Our experiences are desensitizing smecks for me," the woman testified under the alias Jane text in another message during October 2023 exchange. "I need a break. I don't want to do anything. I've hit a wall," Jane continued over text. "I can't be used like this anymore. I just wanted to make you happy, but it's creating a war inside of me," she added in another message to Diddy. Jane sobbed on the witness stand Monday morning while reading the text. "I was referring to not wanting to give my body to anyone else, period," she testified. It goes on to say that she was consenting. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me read it right. Diddy Combs' influencer ex girlfriend once text him she was consenting to having sex with male escorts for his freak off sex sessions. Jurors have been shown dozens of messages in which Jane told Diddy that she didn't want to take part in their hotel nights and that she felt he was simply using her for his sexual pleasure. But in one text Jane sent Combs in the fall of 2023, she said, "I know I was consenting like you said on tape." Prosecutor Maureen Comey asked Jane, "Why did you say I know I was consenting?" She said, "I picked the word up from Combs. He said if anyone saw these videos, they'd say you wanted it." It goes on to say Diddy, in a call he secretly recorded, told his one time influencer girlfriend, Jane, that he thought they both enjoyed it taking part in freak offs. The call came after Cassie Ventura filed her bombshell lawsuit alleging she was pressured to have sex with male prostitutes while Combs watched and filmed. Combs allegedly convertedly taped a call he made to Jane in November 2023, saying to her, "Just some kinky ish that I thought we both enjoyed. Combs Combs was presumably referring to Jane and he so-called hotel nights in which Jane had sex with male escorts while the Bad Boy Records founder filmed it and pleasured himself. On the call, Jane was horrified by Ventura's allegations and saw parallels in her own relationship with Combs. Just reading it all is just so like word for word, Jane said to him. Jane testified she didn't know she was being recorded on November 19, 2023, call which she was seized from devices taken from Combs' former chief of staff, Christina Coram. It goes on to say Diddy's one time influencer girlfriend Jane once texted Diddy that she felt like a Smex worker in their relationship. I became a side chick, a Smex worker in my own relationship, Jane texted Diddy in December 2023. Jane has testified that she was constantly pressured into performing for Combs in an orchestrated Smex marathons in which she had Smex with male escorts while the Bad Boy for Life rapper watched, filmed, and pleasured himself. The Smex sessions were called freak offs or hotel nights. I'm sorry, guys, they just kind of keep repeating. Cassie Ventura, Combs' on and off girlfriend of 10 years, said during her testimony last month that participating in freak offs became her full time job. It goes on to say that Sean Diddy Combs once threatened to release Smex tapes of his influencer girlfriend to her baby daddy, according to testimony. You threatened to release my tapes and threatened to post them, Combs' one time girlfriend Jane texted him. Jane explained to jurors what she meant by the text to the Bad Boy Records founder, saying, at the height of his anger, he just said, I'm going to show your child's father these tapes. I have nothing to lose. Combs filmed Jane taking part in hotel nights in which she had sex with male prostitutes while the Need a Girl rapper watched and pleasured himself. Okay, it goes on to say Diddy agreed to pay his influencer um $450,000 in reimbursement for their relationship, according to her testimony. Jane texted the Bad Boy Records founder, I want 3 years reimbursed. Jane said Combs then asked her to come up with a number, and at that time she didn't know how much his other ex girlfriend Cassie had settled for since it wasn't public. 150K to move on from resentment, Jane texted him. 100K per year. Jane told Combs she turned down work opportunities during her 3 years dating the hip hop mogul, and much of that time she was high and coerced to perform in Smex marathons with male escort for Combs' pleasure. Combs then called her and agreed to the $450,000 demand, Jane testified. I remember he was saying, charge me for your resentment. I don't want any loose ends, Jane told the jury. It goes on to say Diddy brazenly kept having freak-offs after the feds raided his homes in March 2024, according to the testimony. James I keep saying Jane Combs' influencer girlfriend until his September arrest testified that after the pair were on a break, the hip hop mogul wooed her back despite her repeatedly telling him she felt used by his relentless pressure for her to continuously partake in hotel nights, also known as freak offs. Jane testified she ended up going on a few trips to Miami and Los Angeles in May, July, and August 2024, where she ended up getting sucked back into more of the drugged up Smex marathons with male prostitutes for Combs' pleasure. Diddy was arrested about a month later on September 16th. Okay. Freak offs are essential allegations in the criminal against the Bad Boy Records founder. All right. It goes on to say Diddy's ex-fluencer girlfriend testified that she fainted when she found out a really big media company had a Smex tape of her. Jane, who was in a relationship with Combs up until his September arrest, said she was first extorted by a porn star named Sly, whom she and Combs had hired multiple times for freak offs. Sly tried to get $10,000 out of her in March 2024 after the feds raided Combs' home. But Jane told Combs, who helped her lawyer up, and they didn't even end up giving into Sly's demand. Wow. Jane then got a call from a really big media company telling her they had just bought the tape and that they were about to publish it, and do I have a comment? I fainted and I called my lawyer, she said. It goes on to say Diddy's ex girlfriend was sleeping with the embattled mogul at his Miami home in May 2024 when CNN published the infamous footage of Combs brutally assaulting Cassie Ventura. Jurors heard. The woman testified against Combs under the alias Jane said that one of the hip hop producer's adult's son knocked on the bedroom door to let them know that something happened. She told jurors that she then went downstairs and watched the assault video on her phone. Describing the day as very eerie, Jane said she recalled giving Combs space as he went into damage control, huddling up with his team and family. I just remember that they were just trying to come up with some sort of sincere apology post or something regarding the video, she testified. Jane said she was ultimately disappointed with Combs' public apology he posted on his Instagram page. I felt there was no heart there, she told jurors. Okay. It also says Diddy is still paying his influencer ex girlfriend's legal fees as she testifies against him. She testified on Monday. Who has paid for the lawyer the whole time you've had that lawyer? Asked the prosecution, referring to the lawyer currently representing her. Sean, replied Jane, who has testified that the rap mogul kept her financially beholden to him, threatening to withhold the $10,000 allowance she mostly spent on rent, while pressuring her into having sex with other men while he watched. Okay, following a brief break in their relationship between December 2023 and February 2024, Jane created an OnlyFans account and was generating her own income, she testified. However, her proceeds weren't enough for her to pay off the credit card debt she incurred furnishing her home, she said. I just wanted to be independent again. I wanted to reclaim having the confidence where I didn't have to rely on anyone. Diddy's influencer ex girlfriend told the jury about a vicious fight she got into with the rapper where he kicked in multiple locked doors and lifted her by the neck, choking her. Jane Combs' girlfriend, until his September arrest, described for jurors the romantic night at her home with Combs that turned dark and violent on June 18, 2024. Jane admitted to kicking things off by calling the Bad Boy Records founder's name, is pushing his head into the marble countertop, and then throwing candles and glass at him before he launched a brutal, hours long counterattack. After losing it on Combs, Jane started to see that things were escalating and she wanted to get away and start locking herself in various rooms. But the hip hop mogul kicked in locked doors each time she hid in a new room, she testified. Jane then made for the front door before. Sean kicked me from the back of my thigh and I fell down on my butt, and then he picked me up in a chokehold and choked me. Jane said she managed to squirm free, run barefoot out of the house 6 blocks away, and hide up for 2 hours before returning to the house, only for Combs to resume the beating. It goes on to say Diddy kicked and punched his ex-girlfriend as she lay balled up on the ground, smacked her as she stood naked in the shower, and demanded that she put on lingerie and heels for a freak off, she testified. Wow. Okay. The woman testified under the alias Jane told jurors that Combs brazenly told her to cover up her injuries from the vicious assault, which left her with a black eye and 2 golf ball-sized welts on her forehead. He just said, put some makeup on, put your hair to the side, you'll be fine, Jane recalled. Combs punched and kicked her while she was on the ground, then dragged her by her hair into the house and later smacked her as she stood naked in the shower, causing her to fall to the floor, she testified. Afterwards, Combs told her, just put some ice on it and put an outfit on, she told jurors. He wanted me to put lingerie and heels on. What do you do? What did you do? Prosecutor Comey asked. I did that, Jane replied. Combs added, we're not going to end the night like this. You're not going to ruin the night, Jane said. Diddy, we're almost over, guys. Diddy influenced the ex-girlfriend started crying on the witness stand as she recounted for jurors how the rapper threateningly asked her, is this coercion? After he brutally beat her and then expected her to perform in a freak off. Holmes choked, kicked, and punked Jane and then expected her to have sex with the male escort that same night for his sexual gratification. Before the fourth sex session, the Bad Boy Records founder pressured her to take an ecstasy pill, saying, take this effing pill. You're not going to ruin my effing night, and then told her to start having sex with the prostitute, despite her objections. Is this coercion? Combs said. Standing really close to Jane's face, she testified through the tears. The incident took place on June 18, 2024, a few months after Combs' home was raided by the feds in March, and a few months before he was ultimately arrested in September for allegedly coercing women to have sex with male hookers. Diddy texted his influencer ex-girlfriend just days before his bombshell arrest, asking her for X-rated videos and for her to come see him in New York City, according to testimony. Jane exchanged her final text conversation with the Bad Boy Records founder on September 9th, just 5 days before he was arrested in Manhattan on a trip when he'd come to negotiate with the feds about the surrender. The hip hop mogul asked Jane to send him explicit videos of her and for her to visit him in the Big Apple. Prosecutor Comey asked, did you end up going to New York to see him? Jane said no, because he was arrested. Um, Diddy's social media influencer ex-lover Jane said she prays for his continued healing as her third day of testimony wrapped up at his bombshell sex trafficking trial. How do you feel about Sean now? Comey asked the witness. Jane let out a deep exhale before answering. I just pray for his continual healing and I pray for peace for him, she replied. All right, guys, that's it. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye bye.